All right, guys. My name is James Choi. If you don't know me, I'm one of the EMIM threes. I'm going to be talking about psychological first aid today. Thank you to the disaster team for helping me prepare this lecture. So before we move on from the first slide, I thought it was a pretty cool graphic. What is psychological first aid? I'm just going to read off the Minnesota Health Network definition. PFA is an evidence-informed approach that is built on the concept of human resilience. PFA aims to reduce stress symptoms and assist in a healthy recovery following a traumatic event, natural disaster, public health emergency, or even a personal crisis. So I broke it down generally into like the who, what, when, where, why format. So in terms of who can provide PFA, do we need any special training? Is it only for psychiatrists or psychologists? Pretty sure we don't have the time to sit people down on a couch and talk. So no, the answer is no. Obviously, that's why I'm talking to you guys about it. Anyone can give psychological first aid. And who gets psychological first aid? It's not just the general population, but you can also apply it to your colleagues and whoever is around you in the workplace as well. I'll get a little bit more into who you can apply this to a little bit later. Currently, I'm experiencing the fight or flight symptom right now. A little bit fear-based, right? Elevated heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory rate. If you were to take my heart rate, I think that it would be a little fast. It's sympathetic nervous system driven by vasoconstriction and linked to PTSD. I'm pretty sure all the interns have a little bit of a fight or flight every single time they walk into the emergency department. So there's a little bit of difference in arousal when something is fear-based and when something is exercise-based. When something is exercise-based, you have the same vital signs changes, but it's more parasympathetic nervous system driven, more mediated by vasodilation rather than vasoconstriction, and there is no PTSD effect. Oh, there we go. So when can we apply PFA? As I briefly mentioned before, a post-traumatic event, active shooter or a violent situation, a natural disaster. But I think all of us, it's a little bit more applicable if we think about code. I think that everyone that's a second year and up has experienced a bad code here, or a pediatric code, or a code that you wished had run a little bit differently. I can definitely come up with situations in my mind. Pretty traumatic, I would say, if it's your first time experiencing a bad code. The interns, as I said, every shift is a traumatic experience. And so let's think about what the impact of trauma is on our body. And there's a general, like 5 different types of trauma that you can feel. Physically, you can feel muscle pain, tension, sleep issues, GI problems, tachycardia. I'm sure all of us have felt that before. Emotionally, fear, anxiety, sadness, withdrawal, anhedonia. If you don't remember what that means, it's like, you enjoy playing basketball, but all of a sudden you don't want to play anymore. Behavioral, you're hyper alert, you want to be isolated, you're overworked, avoiding things, going towards substances. Cognitively, you're having real difficulty concentrating, you don't remember anything, you have intrusive thoughts, dreams, nightmares, flashbacks. Spiritually as well, questioning your values and your beliefs, loss of any meaning in life, cynicism. I don't know what you guys believe in, but anger towards a higher power, or maybe. So what is PFA? How do we apply this? So there's generally 3 different aspects to it: look, listen, and link. So first, look, right? Check for safety. This is just kind of like an obvious thing, right? There's a really dangerous situation going on. You're not going to sit someone down and apply PFA to this person. Get the people out of the line of danger, right? If there's a natural disaster going on, get everybody to safety first. Check for people who have urgent basic needs, right? Someone's bleeding out, please stop the bleeding. And check for people with serious reactions. Maybe someone is not just going to require PFA to help deal with a traumatic situation, right? Someone's actively having a psychotic breakdown, or they're just psychologically just really not doing well. PFA is probably not the best thing to apply to. And then listen. Approach people who may need support. Ask people about their needs and concerns. And in general, just be calm, be compassionate, be a friend, be a buddy. And really important, your job is actually not to relive the traumatic event. This is not a debrief. You're not going to sit the person down and ask them, hey, what happened here? Tell me every single thing that happened. That's not your job. Your job is to listen, not hear. And when you listen, obviously, you're supposed to be quiet. And link. Help people address their basic needs and access services. Give them information if they require it. And lastly, more importantly, I think connecting people with their loved ones and social support. Finally, why do we need to learn about PFA? To be perfectly honest, when I was preparing for this lecture, I was like, oh man, why do I have to talk about this specific topic? And it just sounds pretty straightforward. Be a nice human being, talk to people when they're not having a good time. But you know, when we're in the healthcare field, we're supposed to be the doctors. We're supposed to be the leaders of our team. And being the leader of your team is not just being a doctor. You're a senior resident to a junior resident. It's not just that, right? There's nurses there. There's PTAs there. There's trainees there. There's medical students there. They're all experiencing the same thing together. And I think the job of a leader is not just to know the most up-to-date, you know, the specificity of a nuclear stress test on diagnosing myocardial ischemia. I don't think that's just our job. Yes, that's important, but I think it's also important to be aware of your colleague's emotional state and psychological state as well, especially after a traumatic. So I think it's really useful to know so that you can help support your colleagues in your community. And lastly, for self-care, apply the 3 L's to yourself. Look within your own self and recognize signs of stress in yourself. Listen to yourself. What do you need right now? Do you need and then link yourself to what you need. Do you need peer support? Do you need to go hang out with some buddies and some friends? Do you need to exercise? Do things you enjoy and ask for help. Pretty simple lecture, and that's all.